Good afternoon, everyone. We're sitting here out on our balcony in beautiful Colombia, South America. And I'm sure a lot of you already know who this is. This is little Petunia. She is my 15, almost 16-year-old rescue from the United States who I brought into Colombia. And today I thought we would go over how to bring your pet from the United States, in particular, into Colombia. A lot of you have asked this question, and today we're going to go over those details. The first thing you should do is check with whatever airlines fly from your area to Colombia and make sure that they allow pets either in cargo or in the cabin. Of course, Petunia is very small, so she flies in the cabin with me. After you've made sure that the airlines that fly from your area to Colombia accept pets, then you want to look at the price. For instance, from Fort Lauderdale or Miami, where I fly from, the airlines charge around $150 for her to be in the cabin. And cargo pets, so in other words, larger animals that need to go in cargo, those run around $200 to $250, and I believe that goes by size and weight, but again, every airline is different, so make sure you check with them. Now, the next things that I'm going to go over are the most important things, and those have to do with the Colombian government and what they require that you have in order to bring your pet into the country. I do want to mention that rules and regulations can change. In fact, they recently changed on bringing a pet from Colombia to the United States. There's some different guidelines now. So when you're looking into flying with your pet, you need to look up the most recent information. So if you happen to be in the future looking at this video, it is very possible that the regulations may have changed. So make sure you check those. First of all, Colombia requires that you have a veterinary visit within 10 days of your flight. What they want to make sure of is that the veterinarian says that your dog is in good health. And obviously, Petunia was not in perfect health. She, in fact, has a heart murmur. But what they mean by good health is that your pet does not have any communicable diseases. The next thing they want to make sure of is that your vet has dewormed your pet on that visit. So again, it has to be done within 10 days of your flight. So make sure you ask your vet for that, in addition to he or she certifying that your pet is in good health. And most important in this veterinarian documentation is that all shots are current. So make sure that's the case. And that includes, all the basic feline or dog shots. And that, very importantly, includes rabies too. I think it's a good idea to go ahead and get another rabies shot if yours is close to the renewal time. I did this for Petunia because going in reverse, taking her back into the United States, they have much stricter requirements now in bringing your pet back from Colombia to the United States. So it's so much easier if you have that rabies shot current that was administered in the United States, not Colombia. Next, what's required is a little bit unusual, and I don't have experience in this from state to state. I only have experience in the state of Florida. But Colombia requires a certificate of agriculture stating that your animal is also in good health. And what that means is your state has to provide this document. So prior to even making my appointment with my vet, I called and asked them how this is possible within that short window. And they said that it used to be very difficult in the state of Florida, but recently the Department of Agriculture, rather than snail mailing this document, was able to do it online, but it was a little bit complicated, and they suggested that I use a service that had nothing to do with them, and it's a woman who happens to be in Florida, and she does all of this online. It cost me around $60. She's a professional. Again, I've mentioned this in other videos. If you can afford to hire professionals, as long as it's not an exorbitant amount of money, anything that's super important, like bringing your pet, like getting your visa, those types of things. If you have the opportunity to hire a professional, do it. There's Petunia in the background. So that's what I did. I hired her and she took care of everything. She was in direct communication with my vet. So as soon as my vet certified that I've had the visit, which was about 9 days before my flight, and everything was fine, she got that documentation from my vet. She got it digitally to the agricultural department in the state of Florida, and she got back that digital approval certified from them. So I was set and ready to go. I also made sure that all of her shot records, because some of them weren't done on that appointment 9 days prior, I made sure that I had a printout of everything. The agricultural certificate, all of her current shot records, even the ones that were done prior to that last week's visit. And I made sure that I had her baby certificate. Now, there's one more thing that they usually require, but I suggest this for any pet anyway, is to have a chip. At the time that I flew, it was required. So if your dog does not have a chip and you don't have the information on that and the certificate from the company that issued the chip, then make sure that you obtain that. Petunia is a rescue, and she had a really old chip when I got her to contact that rescue, and I was afraid that over time they may not be in existence or something like that. So I got a new chip actually for her several years ago, and I had the certificate for that, so I was able to print that out and bring that with me as well. So basically, that's it in a nutshell. The most important thing I know all of you are waiting to hear is whether there's a quarantine, and actually there's no quarantine, so you don't have to worry about it. Petunia traveled really well. My vet gave me a prescription of a little bit of a tranquilizer. That's so helpful for the flight. And he went ahead for me and prescribed me a few. That way I had them for coming back, even though now I know that in Colombia there are great vets, so I don't have to worry about that, getting prescriptions. But I wanted to be sure, and I wanted to have them on me. So Petunia did really well. She wasn't totally out of it, but she was very relaxed on the whole flight from Miami. It took about 3 hours. It was a direct flight, and she did great. And when I left Miami, there was a dog walking area outside before I went into the airport, and again, another one as soon as I got off the plane in Medellin. Now, for those of you who have cats, the requirements are exactly the same. I never heard of deworming a cat, but they do require it. And I've talked to other friends in the area, and it's very simple to ask your vet in the US to do, it's a deparasite medication that they give your cat on that visit again. That's within 10 days of your flight. So cats are also easy. And of course, a cat can fly on the plane with you in the cabin. Now, make sure you check with your airline to see the amount of animals that can come in the cabin. Most of the time, it's just one. So if you have 2 dogs or 2 cats, you're going to need to make a couple of trips, or if you know somebody that's coming to visit you right after you arrive, then ask them to bring your other pet. So again, always check with the airlines to make sure you know what their specific rules are, and always check for the very latest Colombian government requirements for bringing pets in. Sorry for the computer in my face, but this is important information for dog owners. There are several breeds that are not allowed to be brought into Colombia, and those are Pit Bull Terriers, American Pit Bull Terriers, Rottweilers, Doberman Pinschers, Bull Mastiffs, and other breeds. So always check the list. And if you have a mix, like I know in the US, there are a lot of Pit Bull and Doberman mixes and that type of thing in the shelters. So those would not be allowed in either, unfortunately. So becoming an expat does take research, as you can see. I hope all of this information has been helpful for everyone. And remember, happiness is a choice. So here's to you living the very best life for the rest of your life. Bye for now.